再次迎接 FunPlus 的话，还是比较有信心的，而且我跟他们下路也挺熟的嘛，所以希望早点让他们放假嘛，让他们度过一个美好的假期嘛。我觉得要战胜 FunPlus 的话，最主要还是针对他们下路吧，毕竟狂小翔、狂小松还是很猛的，所以还是要给予他们一定的尊重。所以只要我们比赛针对了他们两个就行。
FLICKR bringing out some heat, saying he wants to send FPX to an early vacation by sending them to an early grave in the LPL Summer Split. Again, 6-10 versus 6-7. It's unlikely, as Snake have 3 more games to play to try and surpass FPX, as these teams are currently both 4th and 5th. But it is still possible for FPX to make playoffs. And if they take this win here, then we get into a discussion about head-to-head and whether or not Snake can overcome that, depending on how the rest of this match plays out.
It's just funny that we saw that after the first
game.
Give him an early holiday. We should focus the bottom lane and counter it. None of that happened.
Especially after the Akali. He was able to snowball that lane a little bit as well, taking that first break. Or actually, wasn't the first turret, yeah. Oh man, he inevitably went bottom when they decided to engage in the lane swap.
Yeah,
it was just a little too late at that point. And to get back to what you said in the post game for game 1, it came down to the draft style from Snake. They, as you said, they clearly had something that they tried in scrims. It's a snowball, it's a win more composition, but playing from behind or even is a real uphill battle, especially against the Mundo Kindred.
Yeah, and we even offered solutions for them. So yeah. I'm more than comfortable for them to pick the Akali again. I thought that the Akali was great. I thought Akali Camille was a great combo from SOFM and Flandre. But if you're going to pick that, then you put a tank in the mid lane. There's no better tank than Galio. Give him Galio, and suddenly Camille Galio is a composition. You can dive people, you can set people up to succeed as well. And the other thing that I would consider looking at for them is some kind of safer wave clear from their AD carry or from their bottom lane position above all else. If they're going to, once again, enact the 1-3-1 style, and they're not going to focus the bottom lane, I suggest Ezreal Iceborne Gauntlet's actually a very easy, cheap item to get that has wave clear and also makes you fairly tanky. So during those stages of the game, you could actually be better off. And for Snake, these are things that I believe draft was the problem, and I believe these are very easy solutions to their draft problems that they currently have, and it's one pick that could change a lot of things.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see if they actually do adapt against FPX, because they've got one more chance here in front of the hometown arena. Again, it's been 2 weeks since we've seen this team in the LPL. Last time they played, they were on a bit of a loss streak, losing against IG, JD, RNG, who are the top 3 of the opposite side of the conference, and then Suning,
they go on
just
streaks.
Locked in their playoff spot. So perhaps Snake disrespecting their opponents a little bit, coming back in against FPX and saying, oh, we beat them before, we can try something a little wild and wacky to lock it down once again, whereas FPX have clearly been putting in the man hours to show that that's not the case.
I mean, Snake just go on streaks.
They do.
They had a 3-win streak before the 4-loss streak they're currently on. So you're hoping they can really find themselves again. Maybe the magic number is 3.
Could be.
For Snake, they'll get the 3 wins after the 4 losses. If they start this one rolling, then that pretty much guarantees them playoffs when you consider those 3 victories. But FPX are the ones who started this with the W.
I like how you're sliding in the connotation that the 3rd win would be against Rogue Warriors.
They'd be pretty funny.
13-3 right now. The first team to have locked in their seeding in the LPL. As they've got that semifinal bye. There is nothing that can knock them out of that roster spot. But of course, that's going to be Snake taking on that massive roster. Light, you can see on your screen, looking deep in thought as he gets back into this matchup.
I mean, Light's got to fight for his position. Every single set that you watch from Snake, remember the Crystal's just around the corner, and Draven's pretty damn meta.
I was about to say, and not because of Maestro.
No.
Not because of double support meta.
I mean, that is also possible.
Yes.
It's never discount that as the strategy from Snake, but it is more so that Crystal is just waiting in the wings. He's an experienced member, and in those clutch moments, if it comes down to the crunch time, it's possible they do bring in Crystal once again to hit it home for the side of Snake, because he's still a good player. He's still got a lot of potential behind him, but really Snake, they could work with what they currently have, and they could actually make it better still.
There's still a lot of growth to be done from this team. Against Snake, they've always been the dark horses. They've always been second best, and not necessarily referring to second place, but this is a team that has been chasing expectations for so long without ever finding some expectations of their own, with the exception to that being Demacia Cup, where they were able to take a long run. But even that was unsuccessful. So Snake... They're hunting, they're chasing for it. Their opponents on the other side, though, FPX, this is a team that is relatively new to the LPL. Some veteran players that are looking to revitalize themselves after some careers.
They're definitely the case. I mean, not a lot of success to be seen from the careers of those experienced players either. You've got Gimgoon, you've got Cool, who was hyped to be the best and then got faked and disappeared off the face of the earth
then
completely.
got fakered.
It happens to a lot of people.
Is that a verb now? To get fakered?
I mean, he did get faked out of being, like,
relevant.
The best.
Yeah.
So he kind of went on a spiral. I'm going to say that that's now a phrasing that we will use.
Okay. To get fakered.
I forget who it was, but someone picked an aggressive champion in a faker. He then responded with Olaf, and he got faked.
Oh, yeah. Yep, that was in the group stages.
Yeah, you can't do that to people, you know?
To get fakered, yes. Alas, many a day has passed where we all wish we could get absolutely fakered. As I assume the synonym to that is blasted. Anyways, FPX, they're taking on Snake right now. Rakan is the pickup as that gets through the ban phase and is immediately locked in for Crisp. That is a lot of setup and engage, and that will put SOFM on his comfortable trundle and allow Hudyang to take the Alistar and answer.
Yeah, and what is curious about this is that they choose to ban the Kindred over the Rakan. Talia's still going to be on the ban list. So to me, that means that Snake are not going to play the same style as last time, and you're already seeing a lot of that reflected through their initial start of the draft here.
You know, we were saying we want Snake to pick a frontline. Well, they've got two already, Trundle and Alistar.
Yeah.
So already some adaptations, as you said. That does mean LWX gets himself that Xayah and Rakan combo with Crisp in the bottom lane. And I say it every time, LWX, he was the guy that taught Mystic Xayah by taking the champion against him before Worlds in summer 2017.
Taught's a strong phrase, but you're absolutely correct in that he demonstrated things that people may not have known about Xayah. In that he is a very proficient Xayah player. He was able to show the feathers mechanic to the highest level that we had seen in the LPL, and then conversely, of course, at Worlds from Mystic after he learned that.
With that exact same mechanic. And that does mean that it's going to be a tall order for Light to match up against that champion. Now, LeBlanc is the pickup for Guoguo as Cool returns back to that Zoe, so it looks like we're sticking back into that lane. But again, we've got ourselves a front line, and look at that, Snake, they're even banning away the Mundo.
Yeah, they got rid of the big tank in the top lane. Ornn's still possible, but FLICKR has been playing the Ornn, so always gonna be an option for the Snake roster, especially with this front-to-back style they've now picked. This is much more of that, I would say Kaiser goes better in this composition more than it did the last one, but the potential for a Tristana always going to be there. But you're staring down a Xayah Rakan duo. Not always the easiest thing to play into. Tristana can work into that, though.
I mean, that Ezreal that you were talking about is still a strong choice for Light if he decides to take it. Still plenty of opportunity to try and sidestep around those feathers, around the engage. Lucian has fallen away somewhat, and still just taking away Gimgoon's massive champions in the top lane. It should be noted, FPX do not have a tank themselves yet, as we're looking at Alex and Gimgoon for the final two picks here.
There's a couple of ways to navigate this for Snake first. Now, what I'm looking to see here, because they're picking first, which is why it's in my mind, is you could consider an Orianna in the bottom lane if FLICKR is going to play an AD top lane. Something even like the Kennen, perhaps the Darius, to be seen. If that's the route they want to go, then a control mage bottom is possible. You see the Swain ban. There's always something that keeps that in the back of your mind. For FunPlus Phoenix, with that Xayah Rakan done, with the Zoe locked in, you mentioned not a lot of tanks available. Ornn still up. Gimgoon can pick the Kled if he wants to go forwards, the Ornn if he wants to be versatile in his style.
Historically, Gimgoon has always been a go-forwards kind of guy. It's when that forward direction has been synchronized with his team that they have seen so much success. That's why the Gimgoon LWX pairing is so terrifying. As FPX, they're still looking at it. Camille is the hover, but it's actually Gangplank locked in for Gimgoon in the top lane. While he can be tanky, there's still no dedicated frontliner for FPX against two very clear tanks
I guess.
out of Snake. Gragas is another good choice if he's able to scale up late enough.
Sejuani for extra engage. Gragas with the flash body slams is a different form of engage. However, late game it's a bit less committal, and that you don't want to be using that as the only CC source that you have. And often times Gragas does go towards the AP build early right now, so maybe not going to be the full dedicated tank. And for FPX, not quite suffering from the Snake problem of game number one, as it's still a fairly good front to back type of team fighting composition, but they excel at kiting backwards.
Oh yeah.
That's what FPX are looking at with this 5v5. They have got a Gangplank with Kegs, Zoe able to hit the trouble bubbles and put people to sleep, and then Azaya carding is just absolutely perfect for them. And Snake, they want to go forwards. So things going pretty much as planned for each team's draft.
FLICKR gets the chance to return to his Vladimir, and there is a reason that I am using that phrase, as he is an exceptionally talented Vladimir, one of the best in the league, and gets the chance to bring that against Gimgoon, as again, Snake looking to send FPX to an early vacation. As we take a look at that spotlight right on top of FPX, all eyes should be on them as the coaches shake hands and go backstage, because FPX, they are 3 games away from finishing off their 2018 summer season and potentially the entire 2018 year, depending on the outcome of these final matches. And Snake will try to challenge them one more time in front of the home crowd.
That's right, it's a battle of 4th versus 5th, trying to make that playoffs debut here. FPX in particular, the team looking to make that debut for the side of Snake. They want to get back there and they want some redemption based off what's happened to them in the past. They haven't had the best of runs when they make it to the playoffs, but they certainly are an exciting team to see try and make those, because they've been close before. It's not the whole 9 yards.
Well, so far they are 7 out of 9 of the way there, as Crisp fans in the audience, the FPX crowd still cheering loud with all the Chongqing fans surrounding them as we prepare to load onto the Rift. Snake, after their 2-week hiatus in the LPL, are getting the chance to return back to the stage, back to the crowd, to try and claim some momentum and lock in their final playoff spot for the Western Conference. As we load onto the Rift, though, it's time to hear from some of the most passionate fans in all of China, as the Snake crowd is about to take to the volume, and they don't care who's blue side, who's red side. Snake fans almost always go first. As we load onto the Rift for Game 2 between Snake and FPX. Well, listen to them go! To the FPX goes again?
No, you're not meant to go twice at all. FPX are going to respect it. They're also 1-0 up. Remember the Snake. The fans are passionate. They chant their own region as well, being Chongqing, not just Snake Jiao like everyone else does. Lots of support. Now, they're excited enough to say, come on, Snake, and get that comeback victory. Take us to Game 3. And a lot of this for me, if there's a point of focus on Summoner's Rift that we'd be looking towards, it will be the top lane. That's the place that you have to keep your eyes peeled on, namely for FLICKR. If he's going to win for Snake, if Snake are going to win this game, you'd expect a carry performance from the Vladimir.
Yeah, and FPX, that we heard as we heard from LWX before that Game 1, that has been how Snake win in the past. SOFM pushes top, gets FLICKR nice and snowballed, and uses him to unlock other parts of the map. Ooh, that was a bit close there.
Those were calculations, though. Remember that you can see the blood bar stacking up, so they knew full well when FLICKR was going to press his Q again.
Some quick maths.
Yeah, well done from Snake. Practiced, of course, having the Vladimir top lane. It's not something that is a foreign concept to them. For the side of FPX, I'm sure they are very familiar with it also. Gimgoon is one of those players that used to always pick himself the Vladimir top lane when he felt the need to carry in lesser performing teams.
Well, now he finds himself on the Gangplank, another champion equally as capable of getting massive AoE damage onto huge members of the enemy team. As Cool will start trying to push and harass against Guoguo in the mid lane, trying to repeat that performance from Game 1 and open things up, and SOFM is going for a bit of a faster clear this time around. Went red Raptors and straight to the scuttle, not looking for an early gank this time. Look at how much mana he gets back just from finishing that Scuttle Crab again. The calculation's paying off, and he is looping around behind Cool right now.
Now, of note, the runes that you're seeing here is the Predator from Gragas. Of course, SOFM is haunting the middle lane, as he always wants to do. Cool knows, though, and is hovering towards his strong side. Now, the Predator Gragas is something that we're seeing pretty much everywhere in the world. The LCK, the EVO CS, I've seen it in both. I don't watch much NA, so I can't comment. But I would assume they're also doing the same thing, with some changes to Electrocute coming out as well. I'm not too shocked that Predator naturally takes its place, and it's very good at enabling Gragas to not have to use the flash on his body slam combos. Because you can just walk at them at lightning speeds, and you can hit that Gragas body slam for free.
That's a huge setup as Gimgoon is aggressively using those parlays against Flandre.
Well.
Yeah, setting up those watermelon barrels. And look at that. The Grasp of the Undying is already paying off massively, and Biscuiteer from Gimgoon gives him even more sustain with that Corrupting Potion. So Gimgoon happy to take this lane against the Vladimir. You already said he's happily experienced in the matchup.
And you would expect Biscuiteer alongside the Time Warp Tonic, as he has started the Corrupting Potion. So a lot of top laners, a lot of solo laners are now doing the Corrupting Pot start. You can see 3 of them in this game alone, and it's even oozing into the bottom lane. There's a Varus picked on Summoner's Rift, and you'll often find yourself seeing a Corrupting Potion on them, just as much as the mages in that bottom lane now. It's honestly just becoming a little bit too commanding in terms of item metas.
It's a pretty good item. It provides a lot of sustain and gives you damage against your opponents when you're able to land hits while it's up.
Speed
and movement speed with the Time Warp Tonic, yeah. But for now, we're seeing just safe bottom lanes. Double Doran's shield, as neither of them wants to give up any advantages against the other. We're seeing even CS, the Light has the wave stacked against him, and should theoretically be able to get a slight CS advantage if he's able to perfectly catch all of these minions.
You jinxed him.
As I had to say it. You have to say it, right?
I mean, you don't have to, but you're not wrong in saying it.
Alex is stepping up to take the Raptor camp of SOFM, and look at the clear. Ooh, in and out like a bandit in the night.
Hey, he's got himself the Amp Tome on that first shot. Now he has to save the body slam if possible for the pillar to be down, but it's off cooldown right now, so he'll be okay. But SOFM asserting himself at least in the river, also secured the scuttles earlier, and he's looking for another. SOFM finally getting some jungle momentum.
Oh, that Sleepy Trouble Bubble will miss. Ah, the classic, I expect him to walk backwards when he sees me. Nope, he's going forward still. All right.
It's also that he didn't see him. So
yes,
he was expecting him to go backwards when Alex was pressing the attack on him finally, but SOFM's not that kind of man. He only has one direction.
And it is towards the enemy Raptors and Wolf camp. You're correct.
Yes, it is. Now, unfortunately, the Raptor camp wasn't in the direction the bubble was thrown.
Yep. Still, though, that does mean we get to see Gimgoon with his first teleport. Sheen first in that top lane as he is happily trying to push up. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Light and Hujie trading while controlling vision in the river.
Yeah, and that's actually the perfect example of the LWX combo that was introduced into the LPL. He just used it on the backside there, throws the Q, and then returns the feathers back towards him immediately after. That's the combo that was started by him in the LPL. So the nice little trade there from FunPlus Phoenix. Now, it is teleports on the AD, so whilst they're trading heavily, whilst there is a potential kill threat, very unlikely to be seen until they recall get those big items. That's exactly what LWX has done now.
Starting to try and open up that bottom lane as he teleports back in. BF Sword is the first pickup, likely a Storm Razor. Still such a strong first item, especially with the new build path, as Gimgoon has got that barrel timing down. That was right as it ticked down the health. And Flandre, he's in threat of being dove here. He is level 6 with Hemoplague. Get some health back. There's the Predator and the fast waddle. Hemoplague, as in Tides of Blood is used. Teleport is cancelled.
I think that was actually
Flandre's
a little bit too much from Snake. The teleport, not actually necessary, but it was only the AD carry of Snake that used it. So it's not a massive amount of resources expended. The goal of that dive from FPX was just to get his ultimate out.
Oh, the Ethereal Chain, Sleepy Trouble Bubble, cool flashes, Guogo follows, auto attack, solo kill, first blood for Snake's mid laner.
Well done from Guogo in this middle lane. Cool once again finds himself on the gray screen, really wondering what happened this time. Crisp, you're not going to hold that minion wave.
He's certainly trying.
It's going to go to the turret. He's unfortunately not going to be able to save it, so Alex will come in. He'll pick up the scraps there. That was a 1v1. Cool usually gets ganked. He just died without it.
Well, I mean, he was getting ganked. Hujie was
eventually,
on the way.
yes, he was.
He just died en route. Oh, boy. And let's take a look at that once again. Just look at the electrocute burst.
Yeah, it's just so much damage from the LeBlanc. And, of course, the chain's connecting as he's put to sleep. Guaranteed to hit it. No real opportunity to get out of that one with your life, unfortunately for Cool. And he's gone for the Ignite, not the Cleanse, which is a part of exactly why he did die.
And that damage we're seeing out of LeBlanc is only going to become scarier as this lane is already looking a little bit different from that game one that we're seeing the same champions. And now as we get closer towards that 10-minute mark, we're seeing a slight advantage for Snake. They're about 800 gold ahead as, ooh, that's an immediate flash. And gets out of the Ethereal Chains from that Spell Thief usage.
Yeah, Spell Thief giving movement speed on use. Well done there. But of course, Cool, very predictable in his play patterns as a Zoe. If you're ever trying to clear the wave and you're not in vision, you know full well that the ultimate's going to be used to cover that distance. And if you're a LeBlanc looking at that, I mean, that's just your go button. Yeah, that's the free reign opportunity to try and go forwards. You know the chains can't be dodged by the Zoe. You know she can't navigate around and be really tricksy with you. So you can lock her down and make the big plays. Now he's already 1-0 and he's gone towards a null Magic Mantle. Guoguo in the driver's seat in this middle lane, feeling very comfy. And that comfort now oozes over to the jungle.
SOFM taking the Cloud Dragon, knowing that mid lane is pushed in and bottom lane is pushed in as well. All of the lane control and vision setup from FPX just a few minutes ago has expired.
He'll get low from this. In saying that, once it dies, he'll also have the passive to give him health back and the honey fruit next to it. So usually you'd look at a Cloud Dragon and say, this absolutely is not worth it. I lose too much health, but he's going to be a Trundle, so he's going to be full health regardless.
Look at
Trundle
that.
things.
Even healing up and making his way back to base. Doesn't even have a completed jungle item yet as he finally heads back. And should be picking himself up that challenging smite as he looks towards tank Trundle here.
Whereas the Gragas is not looking towards tank Gragas like we mentioned in Champion Select. So he's going to go towards the AP item first, get that runic echoes going on. Lots of damage comes out of a Predator AP Gragas, especially at that one item spike. But they don't have a frontliner just yet. A lot of the composition strengths, like we mentioned, is about kiting backwards. Snake, when they go forwards, however, have got a lot of unique strengths that we haven't mentioned just yet. Firstly, the LeBlanc's mobility to enable the going forwards and mobility to get out of the counter plays from FPX. You've got a puddle, the potential dire threat from Flandre. And you've got the pillar that usually forces summoner spells before anything else. So they can poke around, get the summoner force, and then consider going forwards, which makes it infinitely harder to navigate for FPX.
Already we've seen them navigate one game successfully, but this one, like you said, might be much more difficult with this new composition out of Snake. Looks like they're trying to head bottom lane as Alex just going to try to contest this blue buff with some push advantage from Crisp. That does mean LWX is on his own, but sitting on the Blade Collar and Flash, he's nice and safe.
And there goes SOFM. This is one of those things that I experience playing games with Raz. That blue buff is up, and as a mid laner, you're like, man, I'm LeBlanc, and I don't
love to have a blue, and he's a Rift Herald.
You know, wave clear is really difficult as LeBlanc sometimes. You run the risk of, you know, not having mana, but then your jungler is on the other side of the map, and FPX are able to take it.
That's an engage, headbutt knock up. That's the quickness. Hujier, they're diving into the back for life. They managed to catch him, as you said, the Ignite burning down, and an auto attack locks down the kill. Hujier caught by the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Crisp, is he going to attack him? No, he's not. Good guy. Rift Herald has been taken, but Hujier over the wall. Did he flash to make it over the wall?
Man. Yes, he
tried to, but Alex finds himself with a double kill.
Yeah, Cool just picks up his flash and says, thank you very much. I'll come back into the mid lane and not run the risk of dying like I would before.
Whoa, that's Guoguo. Walks into it, picks up the flash, and forces Guoguo back.
Yep, feeling real good now suddenly as FunPlus Phoenix. Now that dive in the bottom lane, you will see it in the replay, but that was so clean from Crisp. Yeah. In that he predicts the flash, he predicts the movement from Light, is able to lock him down with that Rakan, give the kill over to Alex. They hit the big items, they hit the Predator, they're able to go into this bottom lane near immediately, and Hujier uses both of his spells in an attempt to save the turret, but he can't save his AD carry afterwards. And then he does flash, I believe, here. While he slept, though.
Unexpected.
He wants to separate himself, but I mean, really, he was just dead.
Perhaps trying to deny the gold to the Xayah on the back of that play.
Yeah.
But his option is between a Xayah and a Zoe, and it goes to Gragas. So maybe it pays off, maybe worth, I don't know. Anyways, the Dragon,
it's moving gold. That's
going to be spawning up nice and soon, though, like you said, that gold is maneuvering around the map. 700 gold advantage for Alex out of this, 80 carries, 300 gold advantage for Light in the mid lane. We're seeing another 500 for Guoguo. In the top lane, it's actually a 300 gold advantage for Flandre. After that early laning phase, he's opened up a CS advantage, and it looks like he's now got himself a push advantage against Gimgoon as well.
And that's kind of just the way the top lane will work. Gimgoon, by going for the Resolve Tree primary, has very good lane trade. He's able to proc that Grasp of the Undying quite a lot, but also note that he's gone for defensive items. So he knows full well that the Vladimir scales up incredibly hard. You get level 9, suddenly you just win lane. It's just that easy to be a Vladimir. You just got to weather the early game storm, hit those level spikes, and you're good to go right as rain in the top lane matchup. Gimgoon knows full well that he has to exploit the early game, get as much health as he can from that Grasp of the Undying, and pushed him in, procced it often. It was very good from Gimgoon. but naturally does start to fall behind.
Uh-oh, that's the Predator. Alex looking for a gank, but he's the one being turned upon, forced to step back, flashes over the pillar. Crisp is doing a great job in the front line, but now that the front line is backing away, Alex forced to use the stopwatch to survive the burn. And LWX is now going mano-a-mano against the Herald.
Right,
you can even see the roam from Guoguo looking to collapse as the wave goes in. Herald preps the charge. Guoguo's on the side. LWX still hugging the turret as Cool is hovering around that mid lane. Guoguo looks for one, hits the Sigil of Malice. They're able to get more damage onto this as the wave is being cleared out. And FPX are able to defend the tier 1.
That's incredible they're able to hold that at all. Cool, you could see him on vision right now. He wasn't near the area, he was clearing wards on the way. Gragas wasn't there, he had no health and has to recall. And still they can't push forwards, even after a pillar. That's sick. Oh no,
he's on top of a ward. That's the exhaust. He's over the wall as well. Sleepy Trouble Bubble goes wide. Cool is trying to react to this. A flash as he uses it to sidestep and juke as best he can. The Ignite burning down. Guoguo dies.
Oh my god, he got double Ignite off. That's the dirtiest thing.
Oh, True Shot Barrage as the shield looks for Crisp. He's able to battle the Ants and Grand Entrance out of the way and survive, but Light has been pushing this turret all the while. We've been watching Cool skirmish with Guoguo, and now that Crisp is out of the equation, it's all up to LWX against 3 members, which means this turret should be going down next wave.
I hope we'll see that trade again between the Zoe and the LeBlanc, because she starts with Exhaust. She's able to use the Exhaust to remove a lot of the initial burst, and I think she picks up Guoguo's Ignite
after using her own.
And then uses her own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 10 ticks of Ignite potentially went off onto that LeBlanc.
Oh.
And, I mean, that's just dirty. That's not the kind of thing you ever want to see. So the Exhaust is on.
That's one Ignite. Picks up the second and uses it again.
Yeah, picks up an Ignite, and then just there was the second proc of the Ignite. So double the procs. That's disgusting. I hope Cool feels bad, and I hope Guoguo feels worse.
Double the procs, double the fun, it turns out.
It's not fun.
As that Zoe Spell Thief just provides so much.
It also gives move speed and gets him away from so much damage from SOFM. I love that champion.
Real good, real good.
So much.
And Gimgoon, he's holding down as best he can. That's the Hemo Plague. Flandre, there's no way he can kill, but he's just using it to push that Gangplank out. Already the bottom tier 1 was taken over the duration of that replay. That first brick going to Light, Hujier, and SOFM. Flandre with 65 stacks on his Spellbinder. He's going to start working down on the top tier 1 as well.
And that's actually the key point that I wanted to bring up, Dom, is that he didn't use his Spellbinder. If Vladimir was going to kill Gimgoon, then he would have popped it. You know, he went for that extra bonus damage, but he's just going to keep stacking it up. Feeling real good about himself now in that top lane. If a Vladimir can just use the Hemo Plague to zone you away or press you under a turret, I'd say things are going fantastically.
Oh yeah. Already. FPX are forced to give up ground as Guoguo looks for some harass damage. Crisp eats a hit to keep Cool at full health, but this is just buying time. SOFM is back on the second dragon. And
second out of that.
Yeah,
and
with that extra movement speed, that's going to be a very fast composition from Snake. That LeBlanc is going to be everywhere.
3 Cloud Dragons potentially on the board here for Snake. That may even be a Cloud Dragon that FPX feel the need to trade over. That's never a position you want to find yourself hard-pressed to being in. But for the FunPlus Phoenix side, whilst it's starting to go a little bit, tip a tiny amount in Snake's favor through the objectives they're getting, 1-0 in turrets, 2-0 in dragons, the goal difference isn't that massive. And at the end of the day, they're still scaling up into an incredible late-game team fighting composition. So that's always going to be the thing they are trying to get towards. And it's not a for better or worse type of situation. It's about we want to get there as cleanly as we possibly can. And really, it's only 3-2 in kills, so things are going fine.
There is still plenty of opportunity for that aggressive FPX style that we've come to know and love if they're able to make it to that point. But right now, this is Snake's turn to run the game. They're starting to unlock Flandre. He's going bottom to try and defend against this tier 1 as Alex is there as well. 89 stacks on that Spellbinder.
And I'm no...
Look at how quickly he's stacking it up. Top tier 1 goes down to Guoguo.
I'm no Vladimir expert, Dom, but I'm pretty sure that Flandre could 1v2 them and kill Cool.
He's pretty big. Level 12 at 95 stacks now.
He also has no flash Cool on the Zoe, so Flandre can actually probably go for the 100-0. However, right now, he doesn't know where the Gragas is. So he's going to play that respectfully as it demands. Whilst Flandre takes a lot of damage because he only has the Spellbinder, they're just going to be trading blows constantly. Only one of them has sustain. That's the risk. Cool. One mistake and you're dead.
And look at this, FPX, as a result of that, they're forced to keep LWX and Crisp mid to try and defend. Alex shows himself in the 1-3-1, and Snake are just whittling away at this mid-tier 1 turret. If this goes down, this is the last outer bastion for FPX on the map. That gives so much dive threat to Guoguo, to SOFM, even Flandre if he starts roaming around.
Yeah, I mean, playing the map right now is doing wonders for the side of Snake, but at the same time, FPX, they've been opened up in this middle lane as well, and it's not just poke on the turret. It is the turret secured.
Yeah.
So it's a case of anything that you can do, I can do better here from FunPlus Phoenix.
Snake caught with their pants? Do snakes wear pants? Never mind.
How
Caught
do snakes wear
unaware. Is it the bottom half or is it the top half? The long ways or the sideways?
They don't have legs, so
they don't.
They wouldn't. They'd wear a sleeve.
There are snakes that do have spurs, though, that effectively act as legs when they climb things.
Ooh, okay. I would say, right? And now we're
just like
to this
tiny
conversation.
little, yeah.
So like, if I'm playing basketball, like NBA players, they have sleeves on.
Oh, okay,
They
yeah. Like Aframu wears.
Yeah. So I would say that they wear a
Is
sleeve.
that a pant? Or a sleeve? Okay. Is that the equivalent of a tube top for a snake? All right, 19.5 minutes into the game. Just the mental imagery is amazing. And Snake, they're setting the pace of this game, but FPX are still finding openings to get back into this. Tube top or not, they're starting to give opportunities for FPX to get some gold back into this. That said, Triforce and Muramana completed for Light. Ludens is done for Guoguo. 100 stacks on the Spellbinder for Flandre, and he's nearly got himself a Zanyas.
And once that zone use is done, dive is always a potential threat for certain. With the Trinity Force complete from Gimgoon, however, the wave clear increases by such a significant amount that he's got a lot better side wave control. But things actually do open up across the board here for FunPlus Phoenix. Now that Gimgoon can clear waves without having to interact with Flandre, namely being level 13 with that Trinity Force completed. And also going towards the Executioner's Calling. So it's all about that denial of heal. He knows full well that he's stuck in that side lane.
Oh, that's the quickness. They found SOFM. Flash engage. SOFM flashes to the side. The barrel is dodged, but they've got enough to burn him down. No! The stopwatch stalls it out. This is FPX's chance. Snake decide not to collapse, though, and just give up their jungler in front of the Baron.
I mean, there's only so many fancy footwork maneuvers you can see from SOFM before he's inevitably going to die. All of the jukes go a little bit sideways because he has to dodge the obvious spells. And at the end of the day, Snake, jungler caught out of position, clearing vision by himself at the Baron buff in the river. Things that should not be happening for Snake Esports as a team. And because he is preyed upon, because he is taken down, he's in fact with Guoguo, but only one of them has mobility.
Whoa.
As you can see where the attempt to engage was. I like that from Chris. They knew that SOFM was caught regardless. The SOFM with all the dodging. Sleeper Trouble Bubble still on the ground. He's stuck. I think that stopwatch is actually a bit of a waste.
Yeah, that's the flash and the stopwatch, which he has now sold and picked up a control ward. Good for him. But that's a lot of survivability missing, and if that's at the 20-minute mark that we're seeing these mistakes from Snake, now they're fixing it as
no,
finds himself an assassination onto Cool.
That's twice now in this game. It found him solo. 2 more solo deaths added to the list for Cool. Very tragic. But it is a Zoe into LeBlanc, and we know what happens when LeBlanc gets unlocked into a side lane. Snakes still have control of the map, all things considered.
Now they're following up onto Crisp to punish him out of the back of that play. Oh, Alex, poor guy. Denied by the blade. I saw that smirk.
LWX totally knew it was happening.
Was there catches in a window
Where
shopping?
is the vision?
I don't think there is. Must have been the wave was cleared and then he started recalling and Guoguo just over the wall. Now they're turning onto the Baron. Blue Trinket spots this. Guoguo's in front of the pit. Light's still doing some damage, but they're deciding to respect it and pull back away as Gimgoon is happily split pushing on the side lane. He not only does he have Cannon Barrage, he's also got teleport, so he can be there real quick.
Also bottlenecking yourself, Snake, into the Baron pit again. We said it last game, but this game it's still definitely the same. If you go into that pit and you close yourself in against a Gragas, against a Zoe, against a Xayah Rakan, all of those champions are happy to fight you in an enclosed battlefield. So whilst it may still do wonders for a Vladimir's damage output, all of FPX feel better from that.
Also, can I just say how funny it is that Flandre, has found LWX apparently. That's a lot of damage for Hudye. As he's forced to step back, Guoguo looks to step up for the assassination.
They got the ult out of the Alistar. That's actually a pretty big win here for FPX.
Using LWX as bait, that's the immediate quickness activation. Looking to catch him by pinning him to the wall, gets the knock up, but they can't lock down that LeBlanc. And she's able to get that harass and force LWX to low health. Still, Flandre, he's looking to group up with his team now as this is the third Cloud. And it looks like it might pay off.
They're going to concede and go straight over to the Baron from the looks of it. If nothing else, to get vision. You can see Rakan recalling. So they should be able to control the Baron. However, giving over 3 Cloud Dragons, that is such a fast-moving composition from Snake. On the bright side, this next dragon, I reckon it's Infernal. That's just a random guess. I'm wrong.
Good try.
It's the opposite.
It was a 1 out of 3 chance.
Yeah. The exciting part was that it could have been a very impactful dragon, and unfortunately a 24-minute, well, it'll be a 29-minute Ocean Dragon, not that much doing for the team.
No chance for a 5th Elemental Dragon, as that one was taken just a bit late, and the next will spawn after the 29-minute mark.
All it really gives you is a closer Elder Dragon spawning.
Yes.
That's the tragedy of that Ocean.
And that's where FPX, not only will they have to control the Baron Pit to deny Snake, but they'll also need to control the Dragon Pit to deny that Elder setup from Snake as well.
It's an adaptive help.
We're seeing some win opportunities for Snake through multiple pressure points around that Baron, around that bottom lane. Flandre is getting real big, as you said, the adaptive helm to try and deal with that.
Not a Spirit Visage.
Certainly a bit of a question mark, but we'll see if it pays off, because Gimgoon, he is trying his hardest to pull the attention of Flandre away to his side lane, just pushing in wave after wave. And that opens up opportunities for FPX to continue to defend around this Baron Pit and keep themselves safe from getting caught out by a LeBlanc.
There's only 200 gold between these teams right now. It's stretching, you know, hundreds apiece here and there, but ultimately both teams have farmed up rather successfully to their mid to late stage of this game. Multiple items now starting to be completed across the board. When you put that into consideration here, the Xayah Rakan late game is always a force to be reckoned with, yet Light, acknowledging that he can't go towards a tanky build, has gone for the Trinity Force. He's completed his expensive item build of 3 items done, and he's not scaling up with a 3rd tier of choice. He's not going the Archangels. He wants to spike now with the Blade of the Ruined King. So Snake look well equipped to fight with their current itemization as it gets completed. All they're really missing are the Void Staffs.
Getting that big damage penetration to shred through FPX. We've already seen some picks onto Cool in the side lane, some attempted picks onto LWX, but he's kept himself nice and relaxed, hasn't used any unnecessary summoner spells or all-in on the enemy. So we're already starting to see some growth from LWX over the course of this series, but it's going to be an uphill battle for FPX to weather through this power spike of Snake and hold their ground, whereas Snake, they just need to keep looking, keep hunting for a mistake from LWX, and if that doesn't happen, force a mistake themselves.
You know, a wise man and Oceanic Pro player was once asked, why do you pick Ahri? And his response was, because I can flash 3 times with this champion. It doesn't matter how bad or caught out of position I am, I will survive. And I am surprised to say that it's Fury who has picked up the Ahri AD position, not LWX. Because now in my mind, that is the perfect champion for him.
Oh, well, we haven't seen his scrim, so let's not discount it entirely. As Guo steps up to the wave. Now. Yeah, sees that the Banshees has been completed for that Zoe. A little bit more difficult to kill. And Snake, with every time, they're just stepping up, clearing out these wards, and denying FPX any semblance of safety on this side of the map. Something's got to give. What's it going to be? Oh, that's the grand entrance. Looks like it's Guo.
That's not worth it, Guo. You don't have any sustain. He's now got half health, low mana. May have to go back to base, and suddenly FunPlus Phoenix, if they group up, they could find themselves with an opportunity to be super aggressive and control the vision that was otherwise almost entirely belonging to that of Snake.
The wave is now free to be pushed up by Cool. He's starting to shove top. LWX still sitting back nice and defensive mid. And that means that Snake can no longer press quite so far forward as Guo makes his way back onto the map. Double control ward still sitting happily in his pocket. No Void Staff just yet.
No.
As he has been scouting for vision, scouting for picks with his
Flandre got his though. That's a very big deal. Not just for the split pushing against the Gangplank, who has got a adaptive helm there, so very difficult to deal with, but also for the team fighting. When you look at the magic resistance for FunPlus Phoenix pretty much across the board, they have a Null Magic Mantle at the minimum. The Banshee's Veil done. 2 Null Magic Mantles becoming a Locket for Crisp, as well as the adaptive helm and Gargoyle Stoneplate. I mean, you really need those Void Stars for your team fighting success. That's all they're really waiting on now, Snake, and they've got 1. So they may still consider prior to the 2nd being completed.
They're halfway there, but they could be looking for Guo right now. cool. Did just use the portal jump as Alex shows himself to defend and attacks just a few minions as he's now got himself a Gargoyle Stone Plate completed second, and Ruby Crystal Kindle Gem. He just wants to survive. The Runic Echoes didn't give a lot of tankiness early on, but he knows that this next fight, his positioning and his tankiness is going to be vital.
Yeah, it's actually a hard rush of cooldown reduction as well with that Kindle Gem choice, and I like that one. Of course, it does bottleneck his choices. I think when you've got the Predator there, you wouldn't be doing something like the Shirelias, so should be seeing a Spirit Visage coming out of him. Is it Visage or Visage? There's one just, I think I'm fancy.
I think one is you'd want to be fancy.
Sounds like Hermione casting spells, you know what I mean? Like,
it's Spirit Visage, Rusty. No, I call it Spirit Visage. It's much easier to say Spirit Visage fast than Spirit Visage. Because a Visage sounds like a very fancy massage.
That's true, it's actually a visage anyway, isn't it? When
Yeah. A ghastly visage appeared before him, much like Hujie and his death. He flashes away, still has the ultimate, uses it to try and defend, but Alex with the cast. No, the stopwatch! Feathers are in front of him though, but no Blade Collar to lock him down. Hujie survives.
And again, a lot expended, but nothing actually gained. Alex does have some sustain, may want to recall, but they've got control of the area. Meanwhile, the rest of Snake still doing perfectly fine, and Hujie is just going to get that quick base off. Alex has wasted a lot of time looking for something extra. And a 3 Cloud Dragon Alistar with Boots of Mobility will be sprinting back to the base from base. Feeling perfectly fine. It was a great stopwatch actually used by him.
If you were playing in one-for-all mode, that would be a Stampede. As the Dragon is actually picked up by FPX, the Ocean. So finally they get themselves onto the board in terms of these neutral objectives, but that's still bringing that Elder Dragon much closer and perhaps trying to pull Snake apart by putting their own win condition against them. As you can see the gold on your screen, FLICKR is still 200 CS ahead of Gimgoon. Or sorry, 200 gold ahead, a massive CS amount against that Gangplank.
But he is still a Gangplank, so in terms of gold, you can see how it's not amounting to all that much. 50 CS, really not that much. Even with the Grasp of the Undying compared to Kleptomancy. Any other day? Gimgoon still doing his part.
He's level 18.
Yeah.
He is a big boy.
These top laners have just been bottom lane farming for like the entire game.
You would call it a wet noodle fight, but it's not two tanks.
Oh no, they're big swords.
Are broadswords that they are just whacking away at each other with. But they've got so much sustain as, ooh, True Shot Barrage.
Alex, once again, really low on health. And makes you wonder, you know, all of this time that he's spent on the map with little health remaining, Snake is surely feeling confident enough to press forwards, press the attack.
And that's what we see. LWX is forced to teleport mid as Snake step up to the blue buff and more importantly, the Baron Pit. Gimgoon shows himself bottom as he's getting close to level 18. But SOFM and Light are spotted out by the blue trinket.
That's the only blue trinket that they have left right now, FPX. So they're going to have to face check, and I would expect that they do. Gragas may be the one that goes forwards with Crisp here. Crisp, of course, having the most mobility to get away. And when you look at Snake's composition, Hujie is the only one that runs the threat of locking Crisp down with all that mobility he has. So finger on the flash button, and Crisp may be able to navigate even the most daring of face checks.
He's certainly trying to, as he's stepping up time and again to make sure he's got vision around this Baron Pit, trying to even recall out of vision as he gets back on the map. Triple control ward and a cloth armor. What a buy. Feels support man as he makes his way back onto the map.
Such is life as support.
There is so much importance around this Baron Pit right now because that would absolutely open up, and Alex is actually able to step forward in between a recall of Snake and get a ward into the pit. They can't fight over the Scuttle Crab, but they're actually stepping into the enemy jungle. They were spotted on their way in here. LWX acting as live bait. He's going to eat a body slam onto SOFM, who's real tanky, but it's a sideways flash, not a frontways. They're looking for Hujie. He's got the ultimate again, but that's even the cannon barrage. They pinned him against the wall, and finally, it pays off. It's FPX who find the pick and find the kill.
And it's Hujie dying as a result of SOFM still face-checking the bush. He had a pillar, and he chose not to throw that one, gets body slammed, and has to flash over the red buff to safety. And suddenly, FunPlus Phoenix with a Zoe, and with Snake having to run to them, their composition truly starts to excel. They know the Baron's not being started. None of them have the debuff on them, FPX. They really do need to put a bit more pressure on this one being started sooner rather than later. And there they go.
Turning onto that Baron, down to 10,000 health. Crisp is standing in the front, True Shot Barrage, but the target is FLICKR. He's so massive, he's got himself the Zanyas. holding onto the Hemo Plague. If he's able to stack it up, it would be huge. Ducks down, but doesn't drop the ultimate yet. Gorgo in the back has found LWX and dies as LWX is still alive. Light chases it down, and Light is the one who's popping off as he's able to find 2 kills. Cool is regenerating as much as he can, but that's 3 members of FPX who have died.
And that's mostly just become an even trade with the support of Snake dead. Snake have managed to take the 4v5, and that was with Flandre caught out of position from the get-go, so very well done from them. You're starting to see their composition truly come online. Ooh. But it's Gimgoon still alive.
He's thinking about it. Cool is on the side and manages to pop the GA. The barrel is set up. He's got no flash. That's 1 barrel, and they find the kill, turning onto Hujie off the back. The Burning Sword, true damage should be enough to drop Hujie down. Cool finds himself the kill as Snake getting a bit disrespectful after winning the fight, yeah.
Once again, it starts with Hujie caught out of position. It ends with Hujie dying twice now, back-to-back in fights. And FunPlus Phoenix, whilst it was a poor trade for them, they traded down. At the end of the day, they still are the ones who clean up their opponents. Rakan kicks it off. He finds Flandre. And this should be a dead Vladimir. But he gets the ult off and he gets the puddle pretty much instantly, and it forces Gimgoon to flash over the wall to lock him down. And during that flash timing, that is just opening the door for Light to play aggressively. We're back in live. FPX, they've kicked off the Baron again.
You can see they're burning through its health. Gorgo's on the side. Like you said, SOFM, he's got the pillar. It's at 5,000. That was a smite from Cool. Barrel goes wide. That's the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and the Baron is picked up. SOFM gets immediately turned upon and will die. Light uses True Shot Barrage for some damage as Flandre goes in. That's the Hemo Plague. No Spellbinder stacks from the previous fight as Cannon Barrage forces the zone. FPX don't overextend. They take the kills, they take the Baron, and they leave.
They take exactly what is necessary for them. With SOFM having no flash still from the prior fight, they just use the Gragas explosive cast. They knock him away if he even considers stepping up to the plate, and then they lock him down afterwards. SOFM in a conflicted space there, not knowing if he should just throw everything he has at getting into the pit, and then dies as well as losing the Baron. Desperate stuff there from Snake on the backside of their AD and their support being caught out of position. The young members of the team, Light, showing some signs of just exactly that. Being a young player that can get exposed, can get caught out of position. FPX with incredible mechanical displays.
And showing their knowledge and timing of the map as well. After the Baron is taken, they get a chance to recall, set up some minion waves, but set themselves up in front of the Elder Dragon. It's coming up in 10 seconds, and though we're seeing some good harass from Gorgo and Flandre still flanking on the side, he's got no Hemo Plague. He's got no way to really get some massive burst. Cool steps up and finds big damage onto Hujie. SOFM looks to tank it, but Cool just forces them to zone.
The Predator Gragas as well is just so threatening that they have to be stuck under the confines of their tower, limited to such a small area of the map, and suddenly FPX, why would we do the Elder Dragon when these turrets present themselves for free?
Gorgo's on the side looking for a flank. He's looking for an opportunity. That's the Pillar of Filth. Getting a good slow onto LWX, who's still standing in the front, but will finally turn around and walk away as they set up their side waves, force Gorgo, flushing him out of the jungle.
I didn't even know Zoe could pick that up.
Cool steps up. Hujie again separated from his team. Tanky or not, he goes down. Even the Cannon Barrage to force Snake to disengage.
He keeps becoming the sacrifice, Dom, and now they continue to push forwards. I don't think anything can stop them.
The inhibitor turret goes down. FPX pushing onto the inhibitor itself now, as they look to finish off this series against Snake, who are giving up ground. It's a 5,000 gold advantage for FPX. They've set up a wave bottom. It's been slow pushing for them, and Snake haven't cleared it out.
And still no Elder to be looked at. Why would you when you've got the Baron buff for another minute and you are successfully taking these turrets down? This is super clean stuff coming out of FunPlus Phoenix. With the lead that they have got, they have stretched it into almost insurmountable margins now for Snake to contend with here. Also note that it's a Guardian Rakan. We didn't speak towards that, but so much more protection for LWX, who can frontline.
And look at that, Crisp feigns entry into the fight, forces Flandre to drop into Tides of Blood. With that cooldown missing, he's less safe, and they step up and take the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor. LWX separated from his team again, but nobody can punish it.
It's a bait because Crisp wants to engage.
Yeah, Hujie can't go for it. That's the Predator. On the side, Alex uses the barrel for a slow onto Guoguo. Baron's going to fall off in 20 seconds, but Elder Dragon is up if they wanted to go for it. Or they could just continue to play the map because Snake have just given up so much.
You know, Zaya Rakan's actually a pretty smartly good thing here for FPX in their bottom lane 2v2 playstyles. It looks like LWX is caught out of position. Because he has Flash, he has the ultimate, and Rakan actually wants to engage. He sits at the edge of vision and just threatens that. If they choose to go forward, Snake, they're turned upon.
And look at that. Even though Snake are desperate to get back onto the map, they're able to lunge forward and clear out vision around the Elder Dragon. They even go so far as to see LWX on the other side of the map clearing a minion wave.
There's TP though.
But they fall back. LWX teleports in. They turn onto the Elder. 5,000 health. Sleepy triple bubble onto SOFM. Cool is able to pop it for big damage, but Elder picked up 38 minutes in. FPX are just dissecting Snake.
They certainly are, and Baron was the biggest thing that was needed in this game to break the game open. When you look at Snake's composition, they are good at going forwards, but they're not all that great at going backwards. Kiting away the LeBlanc. 2 games in a row for Guoguo. He wants to be in the side lanes. FLICKR is the one who has to group. And the biggest thing that you have to look at here for Snake is no one can save Hoodier when he is sacrificing himself for the caught out of position allies. When they miss position, they're against the Gragas, they're against the threat of a Rakan engage, a Zoe bubble. And when all of that gets pegged at their opponents all at once, someone has to pay for it. Unfortunately for the Alistar, even through his ultimate, not that tanky.
There is still an opportunity for Snake. FLICKR is massive. He's got his Rabadons finished at only 4 items. As there is still some room for growth, as Gimgun is already at full build, this wave is being stalled out to buy further time for FPX to look for the next tier 2, and they've got super minions pushing in both mid and bottom, as FPX are going to try to play the time game against Snake and force them to decide, but a cornered beast is its most dangerous. That's the true shot barrage to try to clear out the minion wave. It actually just takes off the Banshee's Veil as they turn onto the tier 2 and break it down. Snakes find no entry into the back line.
They can't get the flanks off. Gorgo also was put to sleep there by the Zoe, so they have to disengage. And once again, this Elder Dragon, it's not a Baron, but it does give a lot of team fighting potential and team fighting strength and just raw damage output for someone like Cool on the Zoe. And every time that he puts you to sleep, you will actually get one hit, and so much more respect needs to be paid to the mid laner of FunPlus Phoenix.
There's still a Guardian Angel available for Light that has come back up. A great pillar keeps Cool pinned against the wall as he comes back out of that portal jump. But that means LWX is free to push up to the turret with nobody respecting that damage threat. He's whittling through its health. The final inhibitor turret is getting lower and lower. Snake are running out of time as super minions have stacked up bottom and are starting to stack up mid.
They choose to play it safely here once again, FunPlus Phoenix. They could have pushed forward. That turret, 100% LWX could have taken that down if he exerted himself there, but they wait for the supers to crash. Mid lane's got a wave building, bottom lane's got a wave crashing currently, and LeBlanc's not very good at dealing with waves. So they'll have to send the Vladimir or the Ezreal, and that's when they feel more free to push forwards here and threaten the turret.
They step up in between the waves, seeing that LeBlanc is elsewhere to get some damage against it. Starting to get it closer and closer. FLICKR is working against it. Finally, Cool is back out onto the map. He's at 5 atoms with his own Rabadons, and he's got himself that stopwatch. As you said, this could be it, but it's the wave for Snake instead. A Blade Collar immediately used by LWX, sets a defensive line. They manage to look for Houtier again. Crisp goes low, but FLICKR's in the back line. He uses the Hemo Plague and dies! Massive burst from LWX demolishes the huge member of Snake, and he still walks forward. The inhibitor turret goes down. Gorgo tries to assassinate Gimgun, but that gangplank is too tanky. Seeing that done, they turn onto the final inhibitor for double supers as FPX breaks Snake's base wide open.
They just look too strong right now. LWX cannot be contended with whatsoever. 4-1-5 with 500 CS. Teleports are coming in as well. FunPlus Phoenix, they want to end this game immediately.
They've still got double supers coming in from the bottom wave. It's going to take a little bit longer for the next super minions to come in through mid and top. Gimgun is just walking SOFM down. LWX taps in for the kill secure before turning on to the Nexus turrets because Rusty, it looks like FPX have done it. They've forced Snake back onto the fountain. They've forced them back from the Nexus. And they have won this battle. Taking the Sleepy Trouble Bubble so that Ezreal can go back in, but actually he goes forward as he goes down, and FPX find the kills to boot. It's the whole kit and caboodle as they race it down and escape with their lives. Big win for FPX as they are 2-0 against Snake.
And they keep their playoffs dream alive here, FPX. They needed the 2-0 against Snake. They needed to match their head-to-head battle. Now both teams have beaten each other 2-0 respectively, but FPX, they've done it later in the split. They've got the momentum. They've got the warm-up game here. The side of Snake Esports, that's their 5th consecutive set lost in a row. That is not the way that you want to ramp up into the playoffs. That was not the best performance from them as a team. Individuals making mistakes and getting caught.
As the players shake hands and make their way, FPX now find themselves at 7-10. Only 2 games left to play in the LPL summer split. Potentially their last 2 games of the summer season if Snake are unable to pick up some wins of their own. There's still a lot of possibility for Snake to catch up, but for the time being, that 4th place spot is locked in by FPX in that 42-minute and 45-second victory.
And it goes without saying that Light did do a lot of damage in this game. He had a pretty good performance in the second one. Of course, the first one, not so much, but really what a lot of this came down to was the individual decision-making. It was the team moments where FPX felt better than Snake, but that's the opposite of what we're used to saying. Snake are meant to be the team fighting team. They've drafted themselves most of a team fighting composition, and they still could not do it at all. They were just completely bested.
And that is FPX tying things up as they get closer and closer. You can see how smooth and slow they played it. That gold graph looking fairly happy for Snake very early on. They've got themselves a little slow advantage. They're playing until their power spike. They get to their power spike, and then nothing happens, and it drops completely off because FPX, again, in both Game 1 and Game 2, against 2 completely different compositions, are able to play patient and not give ground against an enemy team's power spikes.
And there's a couple of ways to look at this, right? We said that perhaps we wanted the more aggressive style of FPX to come out, but I think what they did is they played slow whilst catering to the aggressive nature of some of those players. Gimgoon namely did slow down, but LWX was treated like he was a very aggressive man, and he played like he was anyway, just had the team to support him. So you see the draft in this game as well. I do think that Snake picked up a lot of their weaknesses. They shored those up from that first game. It wasn't just a 5 assassin type of combo. We suggested perhaps the Ezreal for wave clear with Iceborne Gauntlet. They had that potential there. He went for an aggressive build because they started strong early. They wanted to spike at 3 items. I think Snake's draft was sound. It was the play where they were caught out of position so much that really prevented them from having those team fights at all.
Yeah, and again, it was the option for FPX to walk backwards more often than not. When they got to see Guogol lunging in on the LeBlanc, the ability to turn around and sidestep out of the way, I think a lot of commendation has to go to Crisp on that Rakan, one of the better Rakans in the LPL, perhaps one of the best in the world right now, because of how he's able to navigate at such wacky angles. Sometimes he does the classic flash W in a straight line to go onto you, but I believe it was the dive onto the bottom turret where he used Alex as a stepping stone to flash further and predicted the flash to get even more distance on that Ezreal.
Yeah.
Just the mobility that we're seeing out of LWX to deny Snake the opportunity to go in.
Definitely true. I think Crisp is one of the OG Rakan players. He played it pretty much in the first week that it came out and was enabled in competitive play and looked fantastic on it. So he's been able to continue to play that one through, which means that LWX, you better believe he has to be able to play the Xayah. Those two have been a duo for a little while now, and he's been wildly successful so far with champions like the Rakan. Things that were taken away from him in that first game, and he had to go towards the Alistar. So those engaged champions for Crisp, always the way to go.
I think it's appropriate that the duo had to learn how to play the duo together, and both became very good at the duo. So we're still seeing some growth out of FPX on that far side. There is still plenty of opportunity for Snake, though, to try to get that final playoff spot. Again, they have 5 games left. OMG, Rogue Warriors, TOP, WE, and EDG. And some of those names are ones that they should be afraid of, TOP and EDG.
But they have OMG and WE.
TOP, yes,
so
which is 2, theoretically.
Yes. Whereas for TOP, they have got themselves a 1-set buffer now by beating Snake, where the head-to-head is matched. However, if you take the obvious assumptions here for Snake, that they've got OMG and WE, that is going to be 1 set ahead. So that's where this is like one of the more interesting races for 4th place, races for playoffs. Because if someone upsets one of the teams that are above them in the standings, suddenly everything goes haywire and crazy things could happen. And I'm not going to discredit those as possibilities given recency and performance from some of our top teams who have just, quieten down a little bit more. They've been dropping some maps.
Yeah, I mean, even for the performance of some of our bottom teams, Team WE has finally found their form. It's just a little bit too late for them, as Ben finally made his return with Mystic. We're seeing Condi in the jungle along with Pepper, as WE have finally started to pull themselves together. It's by no means a done deal that they're able to lock in that playoff spot. Cool will take our MVP for that FPX victory. That Zoe performance was exactly what the team needed, though he did find himself suffering a little bit over the course of the laning phase, getting assassinated a few times by Guoguo.
I don't know, man.
Look at that damage percentage, though. 34.5%. And think of how many sleepy trouble bubbles he landed on SOFM or Light around critical objectives.
I mean, he was mechanically fine, man, but I don't know if he was my MVP for this game. He did a lot of damage. He was involved in most of the kills, but at the same time, you got to give some credit to Alex and some to Gimgoon for weathering those respective storms, and LWX for not dying is usually one of the things where you're like, I know that's not MVP material, but for us...
For him, it's MVP worthy, yeah.
That absolutely... I mean, last game he died twice in one, and I said that's probably the best thing that you'll get from him, and he even proved me wrong in that regard. So the gold standard there from LWX, and credit to him. Cool also did have a good performance. I just think there was a lot of other MVP viable options.
And again, to button down that conversation, that we are seeing FPX play around LWX. They're not just allowing him to step forward and occasionally take harass, and they're actively using him as live bait. Like you said, with the Rakan, that enables them so much. They've got the Zoe to put the trouble bubble on top of him. So if LeBlanc ever goes in, she immediately ends up getting slept. So we are still seeing some growth out of FPX in them playing towards that style, and showing that they have also learned how to play patiently and communicate when they need to, and how to turn it up to an 11 when the opportunity arises.
It's always been about having a lead for them, though. Like, they've always been able to communicate and control the early game, translate that to late game, and adversely, of course, just win it. But when they lose early game, especially with someone like Alex playing, that's when things went really haywire for them. And in both games today against Snake, early game was either neutral or only slightly favored towards someone at all. There was never this massive moment that went against the flow for FPX winning the game. And for Snake, you could see that he tried. You could see that SOFM tried his little heart out to get some level 2 ganks off. We saw solo kills in the mid lane, but none of those plays actively disrupted the flow. There was moments where perhaps it could have. And for me, a lot of this, I actually look at FPX more than I do Snake. And I say that they weathered those storms very well, that they controlled the pace very well, even knowing when to lose things, which is where I feel like FPX weren't too good at before.
Yeah, well, they still have some time to show us that they can take that strategy once again, because their next opponents are going to be a little bit more difficult. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings so we can see what those are going to be. Because with that win, FPX find themselves at 7 and 10, a single point ahead of Snake so far, but they are not out of the woods just yet. Their next opponents are going to be Rogue Warriors and Edward Gaming. Flawless and Haro or Clear Love for Alex to try to deal with. He was able to weather the storm against SOFM, so credit to him. But his next opponents are a much harsher storm.
They certainly are, and there's a lot of Xin Zhao's running around in those games as well. So lots of pressure to be thrown down this time, and the gauntlet truly is thrown from FPX. The 1-game buffer, but with only 2 sets remaining. It's a tall order for FPX to be able to keep themselves in that 4th position. However, as the standings currently lie, they're in playoffs. They are in that position.
Yeah, for the time being, though there's still plenty of opportunity for that to be upset as time goes on. And I do believe that OMG, they've got 2 more games. They could still try to give it a run for FPX, but I think OMG might be out on head-to-head against FPX with that final one.
OMG are out, I'm
pretty sure they might have just been denied playoffs off of this, which is quite a tragedy, because we get the chance to see them play tomorrow against Snake, because again, it's Snake Week. It's a lot of times to see how Snake are going to play out and try to upset this. Of course, that's our 2nd set. That will be happening later on in the evening. Our 1st set will be Invictus Gaming versus Vici Gaming. And there are some developments. There are some potential surprises that we could see in that tomorrow's matchup.
It's been publicly announced as well, so...
Has it?
Yeah, don't be too surprised.
Okay.
I think everyone knows. It was even a front-page Reddit thread. If it's managed to make
really,
it to
if it's made it to the front page of Reddit, then we'll say here, Wang Sutong was able to get himself onto the roster of Invictus Gaming, the team owner.
Yeah, so somehow the owner of IG is wound up playing on the roster. I believe he's going to be taking the AD carry position up against Vici. And now say what you will about this. I don't even know if he is good at League of Legends or not, but that's not important to me because I feel like IG are just that good right now that they could probably beat Vici in a 4v5.
I mean, they've even closed up our conversation that we had a few weeks ago of the Shy versus Duke. Who is better for IG right now?
The Shy.
They've chosen the Shy. He's absolutely come back online over the past week or so, and it's terrifying. If you need any confirmation for that, watch his Cho'Gath game yesterday against LGD. I don't think I've ever seen a bigger Cho'Gath. At 10% health, he still had more health than any other member on his team. Still, a spectacular performance from him. But that being said, that's going to do it for us. Rusty, thank you so much for casting and analyzing with me today. But on behalf of myself, my co-caster, and the whole production team, thank you for watching. And we'll see you tomorrow for more awesome LPL action.